Okay, good morning everyone, good day everyone. You're welcome to biology class, grade 10, and in today's lesson we'll be talking about the topic population. Okay, population. Okay, the first thing we'll discuss in this lesson is what is population. Okay, population is a group of organisms of one species living in the same area at the same time. So you have to note these three keywords in this definition: 1, 2, and 3. 1, it's a group of organisms of one species. 2, living in the same area, they are living in the same area. And 3, at the same time. Okay, so look at this picture. We have some butterflies. So if we need to take a population of the butterfly, we'll be looking at the butterfly, okay, a group of organisms of the same species. So we're looking at the butterfly that have the same species living in the same area at the same time. Okay, so these are the three keys to population. So let's look at the factors that affect the growth of population, or factors affecting population growth. The first one is food supply. All right, and if there is a large amount of food, organisms can breed. To breed means to reproduce. Okay, so organisms can breed more successfully. So if there is enough food in the environment, or if there is enough food in the ecosystem, then organisms can reproduce more successfully. Okay, but if there is shortage of food, that means if there is not enough food, then organisms will start to die. All right, and this is going to, when they start to die, it's going to result in a slow or negative population growth. Okay, so the next one we'll discuss is predation. Okay, predation. So you remember when we talked about predators and prey? So we said that organisms that have lots of predators, that means they have so many other organisms feeding on them, killing them. Okay, what would happen? They will have a slower rate of population growth because they are more likely to be killed by their predators. So we are saying that predation, when we have organisms that have lots of predators, their population will start to decrease, go down. Okay, so we go to the next factor that affects population growth: diseases. Okay, so diseases also affect the growth of population. We said that disease can reduce, okay, reduce down. Okay, disease can reduce the population by killing organisms. Disease can spread quickly. Okay, thus a large proportion of the population will be wiped out. So we can remember the three factors that affect the growth of population. Number 1, food supply, F for food supply. Number 2, predation, P. And number 3, diseases, D. Okay, food supply, predation, and diseases. These are the factors that affect the growth of population, or population growth. So we go to the next one. We're going to go to population growth curve. So if you look at this curve, how many faces do we have? We have 4 faces. Okay, so here we have 1, the lag phase. We have 2, the log phase. We have 3, the stationary phase. We have 4, the death phase. You're going to be explaining each of those phases, but to help us remember, let's take the code as L, E, S, D. Lag, exponential, stationary, death. Okay, so let's start. The phases that makes up the sigmoid growth curve are as follows. The population growth curve is the same as the sigmoid growth curve. Okay, so we have the first one, the lag phase. So when we have the lag phase, in the lag phase, what happens? Organisms are trying to adapt to the environment. For instance, if you get into a new class for the first time, you're trying to figure out who your friend will be in the class, you're trying to see who is doing what, at that time you're very quiet, you're observing. Okay, so that's the word. So the same happens to organisms in a new environment. The first thing they do is they try to adapt to the environment. So that's why we have the lag phase. Okay, so they have to adapt to the environment before they are able to reproduce. You understand? So in this stage, you have very few organisms because they're trying to adapt, and they're trying to adapt to the environment. So in this state, they're not reproducing large number of offspring. Okay, so that's why at the beginning of the graph is picking up very, very slowly. Okay, it's very, very slow. So we go to the next phase. If you look at this graph, I already highlighted the phase. Okay, this phase is known as the exponential phase, the E for exponential. And in this phase, what do we have? There is abundant food supply. Number one, the birth rate is rapid, very fast, and the death rate is low. So the growth is exponential. The growth is rapid. The growth is much. You see? There is very, 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 very high growth rate here. Can you see it? So in the exponential phase, the growth is much. Okay, so if the question says in which phase of the growth curve is there a rapid birth rate, or in which stage or which phase of the population growth curve do we have a very high birth rate, then you know that it is the exponential phase. Okay, so we go to the stationary phase. So what happens during the stationary phase? In this stationary phase, what happens is, look at this. The birth rate is equals to the death rate. Okay, so the population levels out. Okay, because in the growth rate, in the exponential phase, we had a lot of birth rate. So at this point, there will be decrease in food because there are a lot of people to consume it. There will be a decrease in nutrients because there are a lot of organisms to consume it. Okay, so when it gets here, we begin to have a leveled out population. That means the birth rate is equal to the death rate. That's why you have a leveled out. You see, more like straightening out. So in this phase, don't forget the population levels out. In this stationary phase, we have birth rate equals to that rate. Then we go to the last phase of the population growth curve, which is the death or the decline phase. So the name already explains what happened. Decline. Decline means goes down. Okay, so if there is a sudden change in the environment, meaning that the environment can no longer support the population, such as maybe drought causing food shortage, the population will then crash. That means goes down, and the whole process will then begin again. You see, it's going back to where it started from. All right, so in this phase, the death rate is higher than the birth rate. That's why we have a decline. Okay, so let's just do a quick revision of the lesson today. Let's see. First question, what is population? You should be able to answer that. Okay, number one, what is population? Number two, what are the factors that affect population? We have three factors, if you can remember. Number one, F. What is F? Food supply. Number two, P. What is P? Predation. Number three, what is number three? D. What is D? Diseases. Okay, and we also talked about the growth curve. How many phases do we have in the population growth curve? We have four phases, the L, E, S, D. The lag phase, exponential phase, stationary phase, and the death phase. Okay, so what happens in the lag phase, if you can remember, just look at the graph. The graph can explain itself. Okay, in the lag phase, we said that the organisms, they're trying to adapt to the environment, so they are not reproducing in large numbers, so there is a very slow increase. Okay, but what happens in the exponential phase? The birth rate, they start to reproduce, then the birth rate is much than the death rate, so it goes up. Okay, so what happens in the stationary phase? Then the birth rate is equal to the death rate, then it stays straight. And then what happens in the death phase or the decline phase? The death rate is higher, and then it goes down to where it started from. Okay, so I hope you understand today's lesson. Then you will have your homework booklet, worksheet page 68. So you do the worksheet page 3.4. If you have any doubts about today's lesson, you can send me a message via WhatsApp on my personal window. And also make sure you do your homework and send it to me via WhatsApp. I would like to thank those that have been sending their homework to me. Well done. Very good. Good job. Well done. Well done. And those that have not been sending, please try to send it, okay? And then you have to do this, so I'll be sure that you understand the lesson. Thank you. Stay safe and bye-bye.